r/am I the asshole is a subreddit where people go to give their side on a story and have other people give their opinion whether they think they were in the wrong or not. And today I found some really crazy stories that had me mad, confused, upset, so let's just get right into it. Boyfriend mad at me because he opened up the relationship and got no dates. Am I wrong for how I responded? Me and my boyfriend are both 37, have been dating for just over 3 years. Prior to this, I was single for 8 years. Overall, it's been a healthy relationship. We are both independent with our jobs, living situations, etc. I do love spending time with him. I don't really have any complaints. However, something that startled me was back about 6 months ago, him saying that he wanted to open the relationship up, meaning go on dates and sleeping with other women. I've never been in a dynamic like this, so I naturally had a lot of questions. He told me that I could also go on dates and sleep around with other men. I honestly was a little bit skeptical at first, but after doing some research and having some time to think, I agreed. He had told me that if at any point I wasn't comfortable, we could stop and close the relationship up again. One of the rules was we don't discuss with each other what we're doing or who we're going on dates with, etc. I signed up to a dating app. Within a few days I had 500 plus likes and it's been pretty steady since. So I started matching with people, texting and arranging dates. On average, I go on 1 or 2 dates a month. There are also some people in similar dynamics of open relationships that I'm going on dates with and sleeping with regularly. I quite like the fact that everything is non-committal. So even though I was skeptical at first, I'm enjoying the open relationship. As decided from before, I hadn't told my boyfriend about any of this. I was at my boyfriend's house the other day and my phone was on the kitchen counter. He saw my notifications and then proceeded to go through my phone and read messages, including going through the dating app and whatnot. To say he was angry was an understatement. It turns out he opened the relationship up to take out on a date a younger colleague at his workplace who misread his idea of a date as just a work lunch. He then openly told me that he wanted to see if it would work with her. However, she didn't want him and it seems like no one else did either. In the last 6 months, he's had a few rough dates, but no one additional to sleep with. I feel somewhat embarrassed for him. He demanded we instantly close the relationship up, and I told him that maybe we should just end things or at least take a break. He was outraged and called me names, but he was the one who wanted this dynamic, so what's the problem? I left, and as I walked home, I contemplated fully breaking it off with him. He's been blowing up my phone, and I'm not quite sure what to say. Am I the asshole? And looking at the comments, everyone seems to agree that she's not in the wrong here. And I'd say I have to agree. He just wanted to go out with a younger colleague, and when that didn't work out, obviously he wanted to close it back up immediately. And it looks like that didn't work out for him. But what do you guys think? I personally think she isn't in the wrong, but yeah. Anyways, let's move on to the next story. Am I the asshole for refusing to apologize for slapping my boyfriend when he smashed our birthday cake to my face? I'm a 34-year-old female and my boyfriend is a 38 male. We celebrate our birthdays together. This year, I contributed a small private room at a restaurant and we invited 11 people. 4 of them are my local friends. The rest are his family members. I wanted to celebrate a new achievement in my career and I thought it would be great to just splurge a little and get some delicious food. So we had access to the menu, drinks and our cake. I had agreed to pay for half of the food aside from having rented the small space myself. The space was paid for in advance, the food at the end, as in any restaurant. We had issues last year because I felt that he was doing low effort things while I always did my best to give him a nice birthday celebration. We have an income gap, but it wasn't even about money. I was making less money last year and I still made things work for him. So this year, he took care of inviting people, paid for the cake, and got me a spice rack as a present, which I loved. So I made myself pretty, got my eyebrows and eyelashes done, and had my hair done. We were told to pose and pretend to blow the candles, because I didn't want to blow our germs on the cake. Then we had a picture alone with the cake. When it was my turn, I was holding the cake when he pushed my face towards the cake, so I tried to fight it. His family started cheering, and he arched my body over and forced me to bend over until my face smashed the cake. My friends tried to get him off of me, and he resorted to plastering cake and frosting on my hair. I don't need to describe the mess because I'll never be able to end this post, but I end up slapping him when he attempted to do it again. His mother got up and she got into an argument with one of my guests. I had to cross the main floor with cake all over my face to use the restroom. When I looked in the mirror, I had cake on my neck, my blouse had red and blue coloring that didn't come off, I had to wash my face and got my hair in a bun because it looked less messy that way. When I came back, his family had long faces. I told him what he did was unacceptable, and he said it was just a joke, that everyone had done that for ages, and that me slapping him just ruined my image in front of his family. I started crying and gathered all my stuff to leave. I notified him that he should pay for himself and his guest. My friends insisted on paying for their own food, but I refused, and we ended the night right there. My friends wanted to treat me to having dinner elsewhere, but I wasn't comfortable with my appearance. They ended up sending me the money that I spent, and that broke my heart. Charles had to pay for half of the remaining bill and got charged a cleaning fee. I still love him, but it's clear that I'll never be able to forgive him. We talked about it, and I ended things. He convinced that I never loved him. He acknowledged what he did was wrong, but I'm adamant that his family hates me for slapping him and that it's my fault. I told him that he ruined not only our birthday, but also my way to celebrate my career milestone. I've worked very hard to get where I'm at, and this behavior showed me that what my future will look like, and that I'm sorry to say it, but he was so aggressive and so focused on making his family laugh at my expense that I just realized he's not good enough and that I've lost my confidence to be seen with him in public because I don't know what else he will pull out of his ass. He says he paid for that cake, that he's not saying that it was okay to smash it, but it's not like I paid for everything. He wanted me to apologize to his mom, but I refused. Important. I'm not proud of my reaction. We've never had any physical altercations. He says his mother feels humiliated because of what I did and that she's been struggling with mild depression for years. I don't know. And I came off as violent. Am I wrong for refusing? I already blocked him. And that's the end of this one. What do you guys think about this one? I'm a little bit conflicted. I would definitely say that the husband was in the wrong for shoving the cake into her face. But for her to end the relationship over that, I don't know how I feel about that. Anyways, moving on. Am I the asshole for embarrassing my husband for saying I baby trapped him? Hi, this is a throwaway. To put it bluntly, me and my husband have had a surprise baby while we were young. I was on long-term birth control at the time, implant in my arm, and had to have it removed after we found out I was pregnant. Last week, we were out for dinner with friends and he was making jokes and slipped in about how he thinks I baby trapped him. No reason for it. Nothing to back it up. Never mentioned it before, but I guess drunk words are sober thoughts? Our friends obviously looked a bit shocked and uncomfortable, especially when they saw my face. I asked my husband what the hell he was on about, and he's saying how it was weird that we'd been sleeping together for 4 years and then I randomly get pregnant. I responded by asking him a flurry of questions like, "Oh, did I baby trap you for your money?" He and his family were broke, mine is well off, and "Did I baby trap you for your house?" We lived in one of my parents' properties at the time. "Did I baby trap you for your cars?" He didn't have a license at that point. He didn't respond, and then our friends changed the subject. He's basically been giving me the silent treatment ever since. Only one word answers, and only when I speak to him. By the way, since having our first, we've been married for 3 years, bought a house with my deposit, and had 2 more children. This completely caught me by surprise, but he really seems quite upset about this. I know it was cruel to embarrass him, but a common phrase in my area is, "Don't dish it out if you can't take it." Am I in the wrong? Edit. We are 25 and we've been together for 10 years and married for 3. We had our first baby when we were 19. Our relationship has been happy and healthy. I absolutely adore our family of 5, plus 2 fur babies, and we supported each other through major life events over the past decade. The friends we were with were relatively new ones and are obviously not going to know about our first child's surprise conception. I am 100% sure my husband doesn't genuinely think I baby trapped him. I think it was just a very poor joke where I was the punchline and I opened my mouth before I had time to think. I have apologized for embarrassing him with my response, and he has of course apologized for his inappropriate joke and clarified to our friends. Thank you for your opinions, tips, and advice. It's helped me give me some clarity and outside insight before having a proper discussion with him about the incident. Am I the asshole for telling my wife that I'm ending our marriage because I found her brother at our house again and said it in front of him? I'm a 38 male and I left my wife, female 38 today. 5 years together, 4 married. I have battled her lack of boundaries about her family for the past 2 years. I understand that they're very close-knit, but she never paid attention to how their dynamics affected our relationship. I've experienced every just no family situation. My food was eaten, showing up uninvited, meddling, you name it. 9 months ago, mother-in-law and father-in-law began divorce proceedings. He cheated, fell madly in love with the side chick with whom he's lived with the past 15 years, and he decided that he wants to get remarried. He kicked everyone out of the house. It was an emergency, so I agreed to help out. I so regret it. I had to take 4 people in, but they couldn't think to avoid constantly pissing me off. I got sick of finding them using my private bathroom. They had complete access to the other full bathroom by the hallway. Sister-in-law started taking naps on our bed, which is creepy because a bed is too personal. I came home late and we had to wake her up and still waited for her to snap out of her groggy state so that she could walk out. It lasted for 3 months, but the problems persisted. No matter how many times I told my wife and even told them, they still showed up at random hours even if I didn't run into them. I know she was allowing them to come over. I hated their presence. They would eat my snacks and get on my expensive recliner chair, which again, they didn't contribute a penny for. I had a mini orchid that they picked empty. Things got so tense that I blew at her in front of them. They left, we had a fight, and I ended up sleeping in a hotel. I warned her many times about being fed up and needing her to support me. She acted like I was demanding that she abandon her family. Today, I came home to find her brother's car blocking the entrance. Not on the side and not even on the driveway, just right in the middle where my only option would be to get on the lawn. I go inside and he's laying with his shoes on the couch. He gave me this fresh smile like he's untouchable. Okay, just a quick side note, that would have had me crashing out. Seeing him with the shoes on the couch laughing at me, it would have been over. I went to our bedroom and packed as much of my belongings as possible and ignored her pleas to talk. There's nothing else to talk about. I already called a few lawyers but haven't received any replies yet. She cried, but at this point I have no empathy. I don't even know if I overreacted or if I needed to discuss this in private. I feel defeated and angry, and I also hate her family with my soul. They knew they were hurting our relationship and they didn't care. She knew that I'm a private person who hates being invaded. I helped them because I love her, and I didn't have the balls to let them go to sleep in their car. We don't have kids, but there are so many things that will be left undone. I loved her so much, but I just can't do this. She called me immediately after I left, and I told her that my decision is final. She sounded shaken, but I told her that right now, I despise her and will never be able to sleep next to her again. I have a migraine right now. I'm just coming here because I just want to ask if leaving the way that I did was an asshole move, and maybe I should have announced my intention of ending our marriage after her brother was gone. Am I the asshole for being mad at my husband for saying he would pick his deceased wife over me? I'm a 34-year-old female, and my husband, 37 male, was married once before me. She was his high school sweetheart, and they started dating their junior year, survived long distance during college, and got married when they were both 23. Very shortly after graduating college, she passed away unexpectedly at the age of 26 from an aneurysm, and it obviously devastated him, especially because they were extremely young. They never had children. He contemplated remarrying because he was so heartbroken, but we ended up meeting about 4 years after that. We got married when I was 31 and he was 34 and have 2 children now. Last night, we were at a friend's potluck gathering. Everything was going well until one of our friends brought up a new topic that had to do with relationships. She's newly divorced, so it was about her divorce. Others were chiming in with past relationships from high school, college, etc. I had said I never thought I would get married because my luck with men has always been terrible, until I met my husband, and I said I felt very lucky to have met him. After a little while longer, my husband brings up his deceased wife. Everyone knows he was married before me, and that she passed. He was talking about her, and then he drops a bomb and goes, "If she walked through that front door right now, I'd pick up where we left off." If I'm being honest, it felt like someone put my heart into a blender and punched me in the gut as hard as they could. Everyone in the room could sense the awkwardness that followed. To avoid making a scene, I just laughed it off, even though I think it was still obvious that it hurt me. I just felt that if you still felt that way, then why are we even married? I never asked him to get over his wife. I have never had a deceased spouse or even a deceased partner, so I'm unsure how that feels, but I would never say that in front of my new spouse. After the gathering, we left and I did not speak to him the entire car ride home, or barely the entire night. I did tell him that what he said hurt my feelings deeply, and that we could talk in the morning once I've calmed down, because I didn't want to say anything mean to him. I ended up sleeping on the couch because he would not leave me alone. It's now the next morning and I barely slept. He's still sleeping. I'm not really sure what to say or what he will say. Also, alcohol was not involved in the sense that he wasn't drunk. My husband is 6'3" and almost 250 pounds. He had eaten quite a bit and had one beer. He was practically sober. Anyways, we talked. I asked him to let me go first and to not interrupt. He doesn't usually interrupt anyways. This isn't verbatim, just a rough sketch of how things went. I also included points some of you made, without mentioning I posted about this of course. Me. I just want to say that I do not hate you for what you said. I understand where you were coming from. She died, and I know it was something neither of you saw coming. I can never ask you to get over her or to forget her, because I know how much you loved her. She was your first love. I do understand that if she hadn't passed away, we would likely not be together, and you two likely would be. I have always understood this, but to say what you said hurt my feelings and embarrassed me. Even though her coming back from the dead is impossible, if it were, you would leave me and the children? It was probably one of the worst things anyone has ever said to me. It is clear your feelings about her are still raw and it still hurts, and I want you to get counseling, and I want couples counseling very, very soon. He then apologized profusely, teared up, and said he had not meant to hurt me and embarrass me in front of our friends. He basically said that he thought about it before he went to sleep and came to the realization that he should have kept it to himself. I mean, I can't be angry for what he thinks. He loved her and she died. His feelings are also valid here. Also said that he would never leave me and the children, and that what he said was just a poorly thought out and poorly worded statement, that he was not thinking clearly when he had said it. He immediately felt that maybe it came out wrong. I asked him how he would feel if I said that to him. He said, yeah, it's bad, I know. I shouldn't have said it. I wouldn't be happy. I know you aren't happy. I should have apologized in front of everyone as soon as I said it, or not have said it at all. I then asked him to think of the children and said, it's like you saying, hey, children's name, if my dead wife walked through the door, I'd pack my bags and never speak to you guys again. And then it really got uncomfy. After some silence, I had no idea what to say after that. He asked me if I wanted to divorce, so I asked him why he would think I would want a divorce, just to see what he would say. He says he doesn't know. I didn't answer his question and said we needed to look into counseling, that he needed to get counseling for himself, and that we would get into couples counseling. And if the answer is no, I'm not interested in moving forward. This isn't 100% about the comment anymore. I need to know if he's willing to make any necessary changes and put in the work to fix what he messed up. Because if he were to dismiss my feelings or not want counseling, it means he doesn't think that it was that serious, and that he may not take me seriously. I also said this to him. Some of the comments also told me to take the kids elsewhere. I agreed with this because it would be difficult to get through this while also parenting. I got a very young daughter and a son that is a toddler. They are currently my parents for the weekend, and I'll be getting them Sunday night, so this gives us time to really work. He suggested he sleeps on the couch instead of me. I have nowhere else to go. I haven't told my parents because I really would like to keep this between me and him as much as possible. My family and friends jump to judge too fast and sometimes offer extreme and harmful advice, and it's also embarrassing. Luckily, we both have very good insurance that will help with counseling. I told him that it seems like whatever counseling he got after her death was not enough, and that he was not consistent with it like he should have been. With trauma like that, I personally would have been in counseling for years before I even considered remarrying. He agreed. He was only in it for about a year and then stopped once he moved away from his hometown, never got back into it. He also agreed to the individual and couples counseling, kept apologizing, kept telling me he loved me all day. It was also so difficult to be around him because he kept looking at me. I couldn't think. It was like he would try to say something and then he would just stare and not say anything. With the kids gone, There's nothing to really do except talk. So we talked again right before dinner this time. He asked me if I wanted him to cook or buy something. I still was not hungry, to be honest. So I just told him he could pick up something for himself and that I wasn't hungry, and that prompted the second discussion. Realized he must feel very bad because he noticed I hadn't really eaten much all day. He kept asking me to eat. I wasn't sulking too bad or anything, just doing my usual task, but not speaking or eating as much, and because we're home together all day, he noticed this. Asked me one more time to please eat dinner with him, so I agreed. During dinner, he told me that he looked for counselors himself and wanted to see if I thought they were okay enough, and that he would keep looking. Last stretch. After all of that, I told him that we can't really predict anything until we've met the therapist. I don't want him to keep saying sorry. I want work and change, and then maybe we can move forward. But this is the first step. I don't want him to just leave him. I'm also not saying divorce is off the table. I think he's still hurting from her death, and judgment is very, very clouded. If he didn't love me, I doubt he would have apologized so many times and looked for counselors on his own. A man that doesn't love me probably would have made me look or rejected going altogether. A man that doesn't love me probably would have made me look or rejected going altogether. Many people were suggesting this. I do not think he doesn't love me. Thought of this myself, cried about it, thought of my children, cried more. I'm not staying for the kids. I'm staying because I want to at least try to fix this. If I cannot be fixed, then at least I tried. We are also very close. Some people were asking how close we were prior to marriage. I guess as a way to gauge the difference between their relationship and our relationship. Maybe to see if he settled. He was also very romantic, caring, and sweet to me. We've never yelled at each other. When we first started dating, he would plan dates, surprise me, brag about me to his friends. So that's why I'm very confused on why he would blurt that out. Unless it was just very, very poor-brained and mouth coordination. I also told him that I may get a counselor for myself. I don't think I need one. Someone suggested this, but I think he needs it more than I do. And because insurance companies are getting shittier by the year, 3 counseling bills may be pushing it. I don't know. If I do get one, it's because I want to potentially resent him or doubt myself. Some people were making attempts to make me doubt myself. Some people in the comments were very nasty to me. I appreciate Reddit hiding these comments with many downvotes, as they may have been mean, but I couldn't help but click them. Some of you are very mean and very, very nasty individuals, and I hope you find happiness one day. There could be another update in the future, not opposed to making one. Thank you for all your kind words and support. I've also responded to everyone that texted me, which was everyone that there at the potluck that has my number. 3 people. There were 9 people not including us. They've all basically said the same thing. They can't believe he said that, they feel bad for me, asking if everything is okay, and what he said was not okay, etc. He showed me some of the text with him and his friends, and some made me cry with how kind they were being towards me, basically telling him he wasn't necessarily wrong for thinking that, but wrong for saying it. I told him I loved him as well, and I have never not loved him even for a second, and that I wasn't angry with him, and I didn't want him to, suffer for what he said, but I was just hurt and needed him to know that it did hurt me, and him to respond how he saw fit, and we'd go from there. That's all for now. I could possibly answer more questions here if you have any. Am I the asshole for laughing in my sister-in-law's face when she DNA tested my daughter? I'm a 30 male and have a daughter who's 6 years old. I'm not biologically related to her at all. There is no blood relation between us. I was friends with her mother for most of all my childhood. We were never involved romantically, but we were always just friends. She had her daughter at 23 with her 25-year-old husband. When my daughter was a newborn, about 3 months technically, both her mom and father were killed. I won't go into too much detail for privacy reasons, but it was a workplace shooting. My friend and her husband had worked in the same building and were also killed. Both my friend and her husband had grown up with less than ideal families and didn't have any siblings, so there wasn't any next of kin for their daughter to go to. However, because I was close with them, I was able to adopt her. Even though I had been iffy about the idea of kids, I didn't want their daughter to grow up in a foster care or around people who didn't have a connection to her biological parents, so I stepped in. My parents and siblings know that my daughter is not my actual daughter, biologically speaking. My daughter, I'll call her Lily for the post, also knows that she's been adopted. I never really hid the fact that she was adopted. She knows her parents are dead and were killed by a bad man, but I'm saving the details for when she's older. Lily does not look like me at all. She looks exactly like her mother and biological dad. Most people assume that I'm her bio dad and she just takes after her mom. I don't ever really connect this when and if people assume, because it just seems unnecessary. My brother has been with his fiancée for about 2 years now. A few weeks ago we were all meeting up at my parents' house and my sister-in-law saw an old picture of me. My friend and her husband, she pointed to my friend and asked who she was, and I explained that that was Lily's mother. Sister-in-law got quiet and stood in front of the picture for a while. I didn't think much of it. To clarify, she knows my friend is dead, but I guess she didn't know that she had been married, or that Lily is not my bio daughter. I suppose she assumed my daughter was mine and my friend's biological daughter. My sister-in-law got a DNA test done on my daughter behind my back. She used my brother's DNA for the test, and when it came back that they weren't related, she knew that meant me and Lily weren't related. She came up to me with the results and waved them in my face, saying that I was taking care of a dead woman's affair baby. She said this to me in front of my daughter. I just stared at her for a while before bursting out in laughter. I told her I knew Lily wasn't my biological daughter, and that this thing called an adoption exists. Her face went red and she stormed off. My brother is mad I embarrassed his fiancée, but I said she embarrassed herself by DNA testing a kid that isn't hers, and then parading the results up to me. What did she want me to do? What was her goal with this? Did she want me to break down and abandon my daughter? My brother said she thought she was going to do the right thing and called me an asshole. I don't feel like an asshole, especially considering my sister-in-law was the one who stuck her nose where it didn't belong. I'm asking Reddit for opinions, mostly just for validation. So, was I the asshole? And luckily for us, there is a part 2 to this story, so let's get right into it. My sister-in-law ended up coming to my house and apologizing, as well as telling me the full story. My brother put her up to the DNA test. When I first adopted Lily, my brother for some reason believed that Lily was my biological daughter. He thought that me and Lily's mom were together and just weren't telling anyone. He believes that when she got pregnant, Lily's mom told me that Lily was mine, and that she was just gonna say that it was her husband's, and I went along with it because I didn't really want kids. Sister-in-law was under the impression I believed I was Lily's biological dad. She saw the picture of Lily's mom and I, and after asking for clarification on who she was, assumed we were together in it, and then got suspicious when she saw that the other guy in the picture, Lily's actual dad, looked a lot like Lily. I also want to clarify, I didn't tell her that Lily's bio dad was in the picture because she had specifically pointed to Lily's mom, and I assumed that she knew that Lily was adopted. I didn't know that my brother had been telling her lies for nearly 2 years. She got the DNA test out of her own suspicions, and my brother helped her with it because he thought it would reveal that I was actually Lily's dad. He manipulated her into thinking that it would clear the air of suspicions, when really he was just trying to prove that I was really Lily's dad and lying about the reasons for adoption. Well, of course the results proved I wasn't actually Lily's dad and that my brother was wrong. My brother felt too embarrassed to confess to his fiancée that he had lied about the circumstances, which is why my sister-in-law confronted me with the results. She told me that her mom had an affair and cheated on her father, got pregnant with another man's kid, and had let her father believe the kid was his. Her father was devastated by this when he found out, and she grew very resentful of women who do that to their spouses. She had wanted to sit me down and talk to me about it without my daughter, but when she saw me with my daughter, she got angry, thinking I was being led on to believe I was raising my daughter when I was actually raising another man's kid, and she ended up exploding and immediately waved the results in my face. My sister-in-law does feel very guilty, and she's angry at my brother for lying to her. I'm not angry at her for doing the test because she thought she was doing the right thing. I also forgave her for the way she told me about the results, because clearly affairs are a sensitive subject for her, and I understand why she would have exploded like that. I'm pretty sure she plans to break up with my brother now, and I don't blame her. When I called and asked my brother about this, he admitted it. When I asked why he would think this, he said that he couldn't think of a reason why a man who had been against having kids at the time would willingly adopt a baby without having a blood connection to it. He told my sister-in-law, that I was Lily's biological dad and was aware of the fact. He took it a step further and said that me and Lily's mom were together at the time of Lily's conception. Both me and my parents are going low contact with my brother for a while now. I know I will forgive my brother eventually, but I can't do that right now. He believed I was low enough to have an affair with the married woman, get her pregnant, take no responsibility, allow her to pass off the kid as another man's, and then only take responsibility because her mom died. And the top comment on this post says, "Both your brother and sister-in-law are getting off way too lightly. He butted into your family and lied to his wife. And, sensitive issue or not, she still violated your daughter's privacy and then called her an affair child in front of her." Which I do gotta agree with that. That was way out of line. And with that being said, if you liked the video, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.